I'm Rola Baalbaki from the English department, and I'm introducing Professor Bilal Orfali. I'm sure many of you will think that my introduction is like a lullaby compared to Dr. Talib's talk. Well, I went to see Bilal Orfali 3 days ago to get some personal and personalized details to add to what exists in the FAS brochure. He wouldn't give any, so I thought that Bilal must be a man who likes very few words. Yesterday, I asked his friend Lina Shwairi for those details that would add life to his bio. She came up with an analogy saying that Bilal's distinctive trait is that he views his career in Arabic studies as a kind of Arabic literature and language playground, where he likes to play, and his colleagues and students as fellow players engaging in word games. I thought then that Bilal must be a man of many words. But I also thought that anyone who's able to maintain this kind of passion for what they do for a living and also be able to treat their career like an endless game must indeed feel like they own the world. And I'm sure Bilal feels like he owns the world. And very few people who probably indulge in their passion in their careers must feel that way. Bilal started his university career as a math student. He got a BS from AUB in math, then shifted to Arabic studies and got another BA and an MA also from AUB. He received his PhD from Yale University. Bilal is currently an associate professor of Arabic studies at AUB, having previously held the MS Sophia Chair in Arabic Studies at Ohio State University. He specializes in Arabic literature, Sufism, and Quranic studies. His publications include In the Shadow of Arabic, Brill 2011, Sufism Black and White, Brill 2012, The Comfort of the Mystics, Brill 2013, The Book of Noble Character, Brill 2015, and Anthologists' Art, Brill 2016. He is co-editor of Brill series, Texts and Studies on the Quran and Encyclopedia of Islamic Mysticism. Thank you. Bilal.
Well, thank you, Rola and Lina, for these kind words. While actually preparing my PowerPoint, I would like to say that I'm very humbled to speak after Nassim Taleb, one of my favorite authors of all time. Actually, my family and friends were very excited about this. They've been exchanging WhatsApp messages about Nassim Taleb is in Beirut, Nassim Taleb is in Lebanon, he's speaking at UB. So I kindly reminded them that I'm speaking at the same event. And then the message was, oh, so can you get us his signature then? So, in 1862, American missionaries stationed in Lebanon and Syria petitioned their employer, the American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions, a Boston-based missionary organization, to do something unprecedented, to support a secular institution of higher learning that would include medical instruction. The request was successful. And on April 24, 1863, while the missionary Daniel Bliss was raising money for the new school in Beirut, the state of New York granted a charter for the school under the name of the Syrian Protestant College. The new college opened with its first class of 16 students on December 3, 1866. On November 18, 1920, the name was changed to the American University of Beirut. While the professors and students filled the classrooms of this institution, the university's educational plan was still very much in the making. In the first decade of the history of the Syrian Protestant College, the main language of instruction was Arabic. Among the first professors in this institution was the renowned Arabist Sheikh Nasif Al-Yaziji. who died in 1871. And what came to be known as the Department of Arabic and Near Eastern Languages was one of the first academic units founded. Even after the main language of instruction shifted from Arabic to English in the 1880s, the Syrian Protestant College continued to play a vital role in the shaping and reviving of the Arabic language. Given the location of this college, it is no wonder that over the years, many famed Arabists would have come through the Department of Arabic. Yet, as I was preparing this lecture in the AUB archive, I marveled at the sheer number of professors and lecturers in it. The AUB archive includes more than 200 names, not to mention the great Arab writers who were not associated with the Department of Arabic, such as the famous novelist Georgi Zidane. These scholars also often embraced a wide range of interests beside the Arabic language. Many of these professors held joint appointments with other departments. Professors of Arabic often taught mathematics, geography, sociology, economics, commerce, business, French, English, history, archaeology, and medicine. This, in some sense, shouldn't surprise us. If Arabists were wide-ranging humanists in the 19th and early 20th century, they were following the models of Al-Jahiz or Abu Hayyan al-Tawhidi, who saw the centrality of the Arabic language to the art of proper expression and thinking, a centrality that goes far beyond philology. The shift from Arabic to English at the AUB had deep implications and lasting influences on the nature of the Arabic language itself. One historian, Sulaiman Bek Abi Izzeddin, who died in 1933, writes in a lecture at AUB actually, about the state of Arabic at AUB, saying, "This university has an Arab disposition, even though it was founded by American funds. The university has produced teachers, journalists, authors, translators, medical doctors, pharmacologists, merchants, and engineers who pursue their careers using Arabic. In fact, the most successful graduates of the university are these or those who learned in Arabic or were known to have mastered it." وإن أكثر المشهورين بالعلم والعمل من متخرجي الجامعة هم أولئك الذين تلقوا دروسهم باللغة العربية أو امتازوا بإتقان هذه اللغة. While over the years, the role of the Arabic language in instruction, in science, and in some humanistic disciplines has declined, I do not come here to lament past glories, weeping over the atlal of the Arabic past. For it is clear to me that the Arabic language, and more importantly, its students and teachers, have a bright future. Rather today, after 150 years from the establishment of the Syrian Protestant College, I come to highlight the lasting legacy of Arabic at AUB. I salute the great minds who shaped the Arabic language, its literature and thought, and gave this university its particular, and I would argue, unique place in shaping the humanistic study of Arabic in the wider world. The pre-modern Arabo-Islamic civilization has long celebrated the achievements of scholars through the writing of the individual biographies, the siyar or the tarajim. The history of Islam is the history of the men of Islam. Today, I will do the same. I celebrate the legacy of Arabic at AUB by celebrating the achievements of the scholars of Arabic. I thank the staff of the AUB archive for their help in preparing for Iman, Mirvat, Samar, and Kaukab. It goes without saying that I cannot include all the scholars who passed through the Arabic department. Rather, what I will present is a sum of many غيض من فيض. Yaqub Sarrouf. Though Sarrouf began his academic career as a mathematician and astronomer, he was also a journalist, novelist, and translator. Sarrouf was educated at the Syrian Protestant College and taught Arabic language, rhetoric, and chemistry for several years before immigrating to Egypt in 1885. He is best known as the founder in 1876 with Faris Nimr, another Ayyubite, by the way, of the journal Al-Muqtataf, which played an important part in disseminating scientific and scholarly ideas in the Arab world and Middle East. In addition to his numerous articles, Sarruf was also an acclaimed novelist and wrote a book on astronomy. Sarruf's influence was on three levels. The first as a science educator, the second as an instructor of scientific modes of thought, and the third as an innovator in the Arabic language itself, using it in sciences. Jabr Mikhail Doumet. Jabr Doumet was an eminent philologist, a professor at AUB from 1889 to 1921, and a member of several scientific organizations. He wrote numerous articles in Al-Muqtataf. He continuously stressed the importance of developing the Arabic language and frequently wrote about this issue. His publications include studies on the philosophy of language, فلسفة اللغة العربية, the history of Arabic, تاريخ اللغة العربية, and studies in Arabic syntax, morphology, and rhetoric. Yusuf Aftimus. Joseph, or Yusuf Aftimus, was an engineer, architect, and an Arabist. He began as a professor in the Department of Arabic, but left to actively engage in reconstruction and building in Beirut, Damascus, Sidon, and Aleppo. We see him very fashionable here, but he also actually built the municipality building and the Barakat building, the two yellow buildings in Beirut. When I showed this picture to my father, he started wondering, when will I actually start this business? He was the former city engineer of Beirut and ex-minister of public works. Aftimus published several articles in Arabic on the history of Arab architecture. Anis Ilyas Khouri al-Maqdisi. In 1920, Maqdisi joined the Department of Arabic of the Syrian Protestant College, which that year became the American University of Beirut. Maqdisi authored 18 books. He focused mostly on the pre-modern period and wrote on the prose and poetry traditions with occasional shifts to the modern period. He wrote, for example, on the poetry of the Abbasid dynasties, the prince poets of the Abbasid age, the epistles of Ibn al-Athir, and the literary trends in the modern Arab world. Many of his books are still used as textbooks in several Arab universities. To build on the approaches elaborated in the work of Anis al-Maqdisi, AUB established the Anis al-Maqdisi program in literature, which has been very successful in promoting and supporting interdisciplinary dialogue and literary studies. Maqdisi often composed poems to celebrate events at AUB, by the way. Someone should collect these in a book one day. This is the Department of Arabic in 1954. As you see, there are no women. But I guess that was the norm at AUB back then. We still have Professor Nadim Naimi with us teaching. Jabbour taught courses at AUB ranging from pre-Islamic poetry to modern literature. So I'm talking about Jibra'il Jabbour. During his long career, he authored 12 books in Arabic and edited 9. He edited Kitab al-Eid, which is a festschrift for the American University of Beirut, a centennial volume. Additionally, he translated 6 books from English and authored numerous articles. I was able to count 66 of them. His classic Al-Badu wal-Badawa was translated into English by Lawrence Conrad, the famous Orientalist, under the title of Bedouins and the Desert. Jabbour received the National Cedar Medallion 3 times, Cavalier class, Officer class, and Commander class. This is the department in 1957. Still no woman there. Antoine or Antoun Ghattas Karam. Karam served in the Department of Arabic from 1963 to 1979. Before that, he was the first dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences at the Lebanese University. Like many of his colleagues in the Department of Arabic, he received the National Cedar Medallion of the class of officer. Karam wrote 8 books in Arabic on subjects ranging from Abbasid literature, especially the debate between the ancients and the moderns at the time, al-Qudama wal-Muhdathun, ranging from that to the modern Arabic period, modern Arabic literature, especially Gibran Khalil Gibran. Department in 1961, still no woman there. Kamal Khalil Yazigi. He joined AUB as an assistant professor in 1951 after obtaining a PhD from Cambridge University. He retired in 1973 as a full professor and remained an emeritus professor until his death in 2000. Yazigi authored many books, including pioneering studies on Abu al-Ala al-Ma'arri, the famous Arab poet, a study on nature in classical Arabic poetry, a textbook on Arabic philosophy still taught at AUB until today, and another on classical Arabic poetry. Several studies on scientific and intellectual Arab history, several studies on intellectual and scientific Arab history, and a study on the pioneers of Al-Nahda. Yazigi was a dedicated teacher. He mentions his students in almost all of his books. These are some of his books. Famous Khalil Hawi. On June 6, 1982, Khalil Hawi, one of the major poets of the Arabic modernist movement, stood on the balcony of his apartment in Beirut and shot himself dead. It was the day the Israeli army invaded Beirut. It was easy for commentators to interpret Hawi's suicide as a political statement or a desperate cry. However, as readers of Hawi today, we cannot help but consider his work with that final grand metaphor in retrospect. Before continuing his education, graduating from Cambridge University and joining AUB as a professor, Hawi took up odd jobs as a shoemaker, cashier at a coffee house, mason, and bricklayer. One of the pioneers, Ruwad, of modernism in Arabic, Hawi was haunted by the quest for a modern Arabic poetic language. His poetry is instilled with pessimism and grimness that reflect much more than his personality or his private struggles. A classmate of mine at AUB, Huda Fakhreddin, once noted to me that there is something both shocking and ensnaring in Hawi's poetic voice. He is not a poet concerned with writing the poem at hand, but rather a poet preoccupied with the transformative power of poetry in the most absolute sense. Fakhreddin notes that Hawi is a challenging poet, not only for readers and critics, but also, and more importantly, for other poets. In him, poets are confronted with calculated creative power, with the meticulous building and growing of ideas. In modern Arabic poetry, Khalil Hawi's work is an exemplary instance of the avant-garde, not merely as a force that explores uncharted poetic territories, but as a force that invents them. This is one of his rare poems actually in Lebanese colloquial. 1964, there is one woman. She's the secretary of the department. And she's unnamed, by the way, in the picture. Ihsan Abbas, a polymath with rare intellectual gifts. Ihsan Abbas left an ineffaceable mark on the fields of Arabic literature and history. He also shaped the literary pedagogies and intellectual character of the department for 2 decades and a half. Abbas dedicated most of his scholarship to producing critical editions. So to perceive his valuable contribution to the field, a note on this noble and selfless endeavor is in order. Critical editions, and this is an example from the Maqamat of Al-Hamazani, my current project, critical editions and textual criticism in the field of Arabic studies and classics in general are a branch of textual scholarship, philology, and literary criticism that is concerned with the identification and removal of transcription errors in texts. Ancient scribes made errors and alterations when copying manuscripts by hand. Using many manuscript copies, the textual critic seeks to reconstruct the original text, the archetype, or the autograph, as closely as possible. Preparing critical editions takes years, and they are regarded as the single most difficult activity in the field of classical studies. Universities such as Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and NYU have dedicated book series specifically to the production of such endeavors. But despite this, very few critical editions are published each year, as their preparation requires full dedication and often requires collaborative work. Scholars often dedicate their career to producing 1 or 2 critical editions. Ihsan Abbas single-handedly edited hundreds of volumes, literally taking the field of Arabic and Islamic studies to a whole new level, enabling scholars around the world to use and study the Arabic sources. This fact alone is absolutely remarkable. Additionally, Abbas produced remarkable monographs on the Arabs in Sicily and modern Arabic literature. His history of classical Arabic literary criticism, تاريخ النقد العربي القديم, is a classic in the field. Throughout his career, Abbas received many awards, including the King Faisal Prize, an honorary degree from the University of Chicago, and 2 festivals. These are the festivals. Some of the studies on Ihsan Abbas and receiving the King Faisal Prize. His friend and colleague, Muhammad Yusuf Najm. Known for his grace, elegance, and wit, Muhammad Yusuf Najm was a professor for over 50 years, teaching Arabic literature to students at AUB for over 25 years. He has produced fine critical editions of classical texts, but his legacy to Arabic literature lies in his monographs, primarily on Arabic theater, fiction, and modern Arabic poetry, as well as literary criticism. Najm was at the center of Arab intellectual production in the 1950s and 1960s, contributing significantly to the shaping of the Arabic literary canon and to the scholarly construction of what came to be called the Nahda. Najm and Abbas's oeuvre is remarkable, not only for its diversity and pioneering originality, but also for its composition almost entirely in Arabic. Najm was centrally concerned with the republication of rare Arabic 19th and early 20th century plays and newspapers. He sought to establish a textual canon and a history of modern Arabic literature, thus fashioning it as an object of scientific study and a grand narrative. Professor Najm's contribution to the study of Arabic literature have been acknowledged in a number of prizes throughout his career, including the Arab League Cultural Prize for Literary Studies twice in 1956 and 1958, and the King Faisal International Prize of Arabic Literature. By the way, the King Faisal Prize is the equivalent of the Nobel Prize in Arabic literature, and 4 members of the department thus far received this very prestigious award. The department did have a woman professor, and she's actually with us here today. She arrived this morning at 5 a.m., and she did make it to the lecture. So thank you, Professor Qadi. Wadat Qadi is one of the few people who has 4 degrees from AUB. Yes, 4. A BA in 1965, an MA in 1969, a PhD in 1973, and an honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters in 2012. Before heading to the US to work at Harvard, Columbia, Yale, and the University of Chicago, where she retired, she was promoted through the ranks at AUB. She has received many awards during her illustrious career, including the King Faisal Prize, produced numerous books, and mentored many students. Later this afternoon, colleagues from the Arabic and History departments are organizing a panel to celebrate her career and achievements. It's at 4:30 in College Hall. Wadat Qadi's scholarly work tackles many aspects of the Arabo-Islamic civilization, such as early Islamic thought, Quranic commentary, and the Quran's use in literature, theology, and sectarianism, history and historiography, manuscripts and papyri, political thought, classical Arabic prose, Umayyad legacies, material culture, and biographical literature. Her research in these areas has blazed new directions in scholarship. Wadat Qadi is an exceptional scholar who continues to challenge and shape the field of Arabic and Islamic studies. She is the very product of AUB and has contributed enormously to the university and its international reputation. This picture is from Scottsdale, Arizona, and I took it myself. Sami Makarim, whom I'm sure he's with us in spirit today. Sami Makarim joined AUB in 1964 and remained associated with the university until his death in 2012. During these 48 years, Sami Makarim left many books and academic articles on Islamic studies, particularly Shia, Ismaili, and Sufi studies. In addition to being an accomplished poet, Makarim received many awards during his career as a historian and an artist. Today, I will focus on his activity as a painter and calligrapher. He was trained by his father, Sheikh Nasib Makarim, known as one of the greatest calligraphers of his era and all times. In addition to being the official calligrapher of the Republic of Lebanon during his time, Sheikh Nasib Makarim was also known for being the personal calligrapher to several kings and emirs. Sami inherited from his father an unmatched talent, a craft, and an obsession with minute details, but coupled this with a mystical interpretation of the Arabic letters. Deep-rooted in the mystical tradition of Islam, Makarim interpreted every curve, dot, and connection to create a script of his own, the Makarimian script. A script that is more proportional than the Kufic and more inclined than the Hijazi. A sentence to Sami Makarim is an array of words, a word an array of letters, a letter an array of dots. Each dot is a divine blessing and a meaning, a mystical one. The combination and arrangement of these letters and words convey a mystical message. The abstracted and heavily symbolized lines of poetry or verses often take mystical shapes, convey multiple meanings, and have the power to evoke passionate feelings. Ramzi Baalbaki, my godfather, my mentor, my teacher, my colleague, and my friend. And he is also with us today. A professor at AUB for 38 years thus far. Ramzi Baalbaki has received numerous honors and awards during his ongoing career. He was awarded the 1999 Prize for Humanities by the Abdel Hadi Dibs Foundation and received the 2010 King Faisal International Prize for Arabic Language and Literature. Ramzi Baalbaki's works, both in Arabic and English, on Arabic lexicography, Arabic linguistics, comparative semantics, and the history of Arabic script, have enriched the scholarly study of these fields and contributed immeasurably to a more nuanced understanding of the Arabic language. He edited several volumes on Arabic language and grammar, and more broadly on Arabic studies and humanities. His critical editions of classical texts constitute a model for future editors to follow. Much of Ramzi Baalbaki's oeuvre has been devoted to the study of the history of Arabic grammar, a field in which his scholarship remains indispensable. Ramzi Baalbaki's contribution to the field of Arabic grammar may be summed up in three aims. The first is to demonstrate, by examining early terminology and concepts, that Arabic grammatical thought is a genuine intellectual product of Arabs and Muslims. It was not borrowed from the Greeks, it was not borrowed from the Indians or other nations. Rather than the result of borrowing from other nations. The second aim is to highlight the central position of the grammatical tradition that the grammatical tradition occupies within the breadth of the Arabic and Islamic scholarly tradition, particularly because grammar is firmly linked to exegesis, Quranic readings, stylistics, and literary criticism. The third aim is to demonstrate the intricate and subtle analytical methods of the early grammarians, who, unlike later authors, were keen to disclose the delicate balance between structure and meaning, lafz and ma'na. Additionally, Ramzi Baalbaki's influence extends way beyond scholarly circles and has reached nearly every Arab household and international library in the form of Al-Mawrid and Al-Mawrid Al-Akbar, the two most important English-Arabic dictionaries, launched originally by his father, Munir Baalbaki. The Doha Arabic Historical Dictionary was launched in 2013. Dr. Baalbaki is the chair of the academic council that consists of the best philologists in the Arab world. The goal is to trace the semantic development of every single word in Arabic, which involves pre-Islamic inscriptions, papyri, pre-Islamic poetry, progressively up to the present time. It is the first serious attempt of producing a historical dictionary of Arabic. This project is way long overdue. The dictionary will be published electronically and will be open access. It is a turning point in the study of Arabic language and an invaluable aid to researchers in philology, literature, Quranic, Arabic humanities, and sciences. Since the inception of this project, which will extend over a period of at least 15 years, the name of AUB, through Ramzi Baalbaki, is associated with it. So, an eye on the future of the department. I would like to end this talk by suggesting something about the words Arab humanities. For in truth, there is no Arab humanities or English humanities, but in fact, one discipline entitled humanities. The Arab past had a strong tradition of interdisciplinary learning that can be a guide for us at present. Arabic humanities can in fact be an example of the humanities. A strong Department of Arabic will enable our students to access original and authentic sources of information, written and oral, and see commonalities across their studies in whatever language they are conducted on their studies in whatever language they are conducted. Learning to conduct research in Arabic will aid other departments to produce research with impact on society, not only in humanities and social sciences, where the use of Arabic is perhaps more widespread, but also in the sciences. Interdisciplinary research is not an option anymore, and researchers in the Department of Arabic must open up to questions and needs of other disciplines. Media studies, software engineering, data mining, music and musicology, fine and performing arts, art history, etc. We have a role to play and we look eagerly to assume it. We need to improve methods to reward such interdisciplinary research on campus, not only in the Arabic department, but across the departments, and to reflect this in our course offerings. The Arab world is passing through difficult times that will shape its future. Language, its literature, and thought will no doubt play vital roles in this future. Like our predecessors, we need to produce transformative research and shape Arabic language, literature, and thought. We at AUB have begun to shape, in the Arabic department, an Arabic studies that is aware of its relationship to the religious cultures that shaped it, but not determined by them. Arabic studies is not equivalent to Islamic studies. We are also bridging the gap between Arab scholarship and Western scholarship in the field by writing in both English and in Arabic, in English and in Arabic. This dichotomy in the field cannot and should not continue to exist. All this could not have been achieved without the free and secular setting of AUB. We have a busy agenda in the decade ahead of us. When our successors gather here 150 years from now, may they look with favor on what we have accomplished. I will conclude this talk with lines by the Ayyubite Khalil Hawi. Light-footed, they crossed the bridge in the morning. I have stretched out my ribs for them like a sturdy bridge. From the caves and swamps of the east, they come to the new east. يعبرون الجسر في الصبح خفافا أضلع امتدت لهم جسرا وطيد من كهوف الشرق من مستنقع الشرق إلى الشرق الجديد. Thank you.